everyone, it's Ephraim here from Past Point One Comics. Well, I got some more comics and I actually got some statues from Sideshow Collectibles and a print, but I'm going to show them to you next week. I decided to mix things up a little bit this week. But before I go any further, please hit that subscribe, like, and notification button. If you're a first timer to my channel, thank you very much for watching my video. If you're one of my regular subscribers, I always appreciate when you watch my videos. Now, before I go any further to go on my next, what I'm going to talk about, I recently joined a Discord group. And Discord groups are basically, it's a multi-platform group area that lets people chat with each other on a one-on-one basis or a group via a server. The group that I joined is called the Department of Comics. I'm going to have a permanent link for them on my banner. So if you want to check them out, you can click on that Discord little icon. And also under the description, I'm going to have a direct link to their page on the Discord group. So this is a really good group. I joined, about a month or two ago, and they have all kinds of information for for people who are into comic books. They have different chapters, or for each whatever you want to look at. For example, they have announcements, comic chat, comic book speculation, online exclusives, slabs and grails, new release comics. My favorite chapter or area that I normally go to is Star Wars chat and Star Wars speculation. It's a really good group, as I stated before. So if you're interested in it, and I think you should be, because I am, like I said, their link is in the description below, and I will always have a direct link on my banner for them moving forward. Now, this video is specifically, I'm not going to show any new comics this time, but I was just doing a how-to video for people who are interested in collecting comic books, where to start, what do you do? Now, when I started collecting comic books, I was a kid. I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and right around the corner from my house was a liquor store. I used to buy candy and sodas there only, but they also had a comic book spindle there. So that's where I got my very first comic book. I wish I could remember which comic book it was, but it was such a long time ago. Let me put it to you this way. Comic books were like 20-25 cents when I started collecting comic books. I know which comic book publication I picked up first was Marvel, and that's what started me collecting comic books. Now, at the beginning, I would just buy Marvel, and I'd say for the first 10 plus years that I started collecting comic books, when I was about 10 years old, it was all basically Marvel. I would sprinkle in DC every now and then, but that was my main focus, was Marvel comic books. After that, well, first of all, you have to decide if you want to collect comic books. Do you have an interest in collecting comic books? I did. The minute I read my first comic book, I was hooked, and I've been collecting ever since. I've mentioned this before, and I've told my cousin, who also collects comic books, that it's in our DNA. Something just made us pick up a comic book, and we started reading, and we haven't stopped now. And we're adults, obviously. So, but now, if you've never read comic books before, if you don't know where to start, my first recommendation is going online. Go to Google and just say history of comic books, and that's where you should start. See if it, piques your interest. If it does, and if you want to go further, you don't have to, but there's Marvel, there's DC, there's Image, IDW, there's Boom Studios now, there's Dark Horse, there's Scout Comics, there's Dynamite, and there's a lot more publishers out there. So you got to figure out what's your genre. Me, myself, at the beginning, it was superheroes, obviously. I got into Spider-Man, Incredible Hulk, the X-Men when they came out, Avengers, that's what I focused on mostly. And every now and then, like I said, I would buy Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, some DC comic books, but mainly Marvel. But now, as those other publishers that I mentioned earlier, there are so many types of genres of not just superheroes. Image comic books, gosh, or 10, 15 years ago, came out with The Walking Dead, and that was such a great run. I wish I would have bought number one when it came out, but I had no idea. I didn't really get into The Walking Dead until after the TV show started, and I started collecting them. But their run just finished about 2 years ago, and so first of all, like I said, go online, see. You could go to Previews World, and there's also another distributor. I think it's UCS Distributors. I'll have their links below them. These are people who distribute comic books on a monthly basis, and they have every comic book that comes out basically, so you can make up your mind, what you want to do. Another good avenue, to me, has been Instagram. There's a lot of groups on Instagram and people who sell comic books, who show their comic books, and also on Facebook. Facebook more has groups that you can follow. If you wanted to follow just a group for Spider-Man, there's a group just dedicated to Spider-Man. If you wanted to follow groups just dedicated to Marvel comics, they have one for Marvel, they have one for DC, they have one for Image Comics. If you just start looking into Facebook groups, you'll see there's so many of them. Going back to Instagram, there's groups there also you can join. Just type in comic books and they'll take you to people who show their comic books constantly, and I'm one of them. And there are people who sell comic books on Instagram a lot and also on Facebook. So like I said, there's a lot of things that you can look into if you want to get into collecting comic books. After that, you got to let me show you some of my comic books that I buy now, besides Marvel. This one is from Aftershocks Comics. It's called A We Live. And I'm going to show you some Marvel books too. So like I said, at the beginning, it was just Marvel for me, but there are so many good books out there for right now for the general population. My opinion is, buy what you love. And if it's just Marvel, then it's just Marvel. If it's just DC, then it's just DC. If it's Image, or if you want to, I go all over the board now. If I like it, if I read the synopsis of it, and if it piques my interest, I'll try to get it. So the next one is from Marvel. It's Venom. Venom's a regular character on Marvel. There was a movie about Venom a couple years ago too, and he's very popular right now. Next one, Star Wars all of a sudden has exploded because of The Mandalorian. Everybody wants to get Star Wars books now. And that's another thing about collecting. You can get modern books, which are basically books that have come out just recently, or if you want, you can get older books. Again, those older books, though, they may cost more. In a previous video, I broke down the different ages. I'll put a link to that video too if you want to take a look at it. Basically, it started from the Golden Age, and a little bit before that, and all the way up to the modern age, which are books that come out more recently. I have a lot of Star Wars books when the very first movie came out. I kept those, so I have them. I'm trying to go through them now to see. Like I said, Star Wars has exploded comic book wise because of the announcement by Disney Plus that they're going to be making a whole bunch of more TV shows. And The Mandalorian just came out and finished season 2. Boba Fett is becoming more popular. But here's another Star Wars book that I picked up recently. It's called it's Dr. Aphra. This character was created specifically right now for comic books, but you never know. They may make a TV show or a movie out of this character. So like I said, Star Wars is just, everybody's going crazy for Star Wars right now. So am I. As you can see, I have a pop right here of Darth Vader. Next one up, this is from Image Comics, is Spawn by Todd McFarlane. I believe this one is from Boom Studios. If it's not, I'll make the correction later on. But this series, and it's not superhero based. Like I said, I'm branching out. There's so many great comic books out there. This one is called Something is Killing the Children. Right now, this main character basically is hunting down creatures who choose to kill children, and that's where the storyline goes. And adults can't see them anymore; only little kids can. But she has the capability. Her and her group have the capability of seeing these monsters, and they're out to kill them before they kill children. So it's a very good storyline. I'm not going to say any more about it. If you want to check it out, please do. This one is DC Comics, Batgirl, number 50. Actually, this was the last issue of this series. Comic book titles or series like TV shows, anything, it eventually ends. But a lot of times they're still going to use the character, and a lot of times they'll reboot it and they'll start over from number one. So you're all excited about it and you want to collect them again. That's the thing about collecting, if you have to be careful, or you'll go down a rabbit hole and just buy whatever comes up. But for anybody who's never collected, ask a bunch of questions on Instagram. You can ask questions on Facebook. If you want to leave a comment below and ask me, I'll try to answer that question. But like I said, comic books, it's something that just always stuck with me, and it's always going to be a part of my life, Next one is by Scout Comics. It's called Assassin and Son. Next one up, it's from BBC. It's a Doctor Who comic. The artist here is Peach Momoko. Peach Momoko blew up beginning of 2020, and everybody wants her comic books now. So, and I get them every now and then. Now, I myself, I try to find older comic books, and I read them. I don't just, like I said, I don't just collect them to collect them and put them away. Part of the enjoyment for me for collecting comic books is actually reading the stories. And I try to read them as soon as possible, so when I do my videos, I can if I talk about a certain book that came out, I'll be able to say, hey, I read this one, here's what it's about. But Doctor Who I haven't read. I haven't read them all. And I just got this one basically because it had Peach Momoko, the artist, who I'm a big fan of now. And there's different genres, like I said. If you're not into superheroes, if you're not into these other types of comic books that I have shown you, here's Archie's Comics. My daughter reads Archie's Comics, or she used to read comics, and she kept them. So we have some of these also. Next one up is from Bongo Comics. It's Bart Simpson. And the last one that I have is Usagi Jimbo from IDW. Every year there's a free comic book day where comic book stores, they give out free comic books, to the general public, so those who have never read comic books before, they can take a look at them and saying, hey, is this something that interests me? Do I want to buy comic books on a regular basis? Now, if you don't know where to go to buy comics, again, online, all you have to do is say comic book stores near me. And you can go to a comic book store. They'll have tons of comic books there if it's a store near you. And you can just browse and look at which ones that may pique your interest. There's also comic book stores that sell comic books online, which I do a lot of online buying. My go-to site on a monthly basis is Gmart Comics. I'll have a link under description also if you want to take a look at their site. The reason I went online, I just Googled years and years ago comic book stores, and there was a whole bunch that popped up. I liked the way Gmart had their setup online. They give 35% discount, which is a plus for me, on comic books. On certain comic books, there are comic books which have ratios like 1 to 10, 1 to 25, 1 to 50, 1 to 100. That means the vendor, the people who buy the comic books, for 1 to 10, for every 10 comic books they buy of a certain comic book, the 10th one is a ratio. And then 1 to 25, 1 to 50, 1 to 100, etc. Now, as I mentioned for myself, Gmart Comic Books, who I do my monthly subscription with, I'm in California. They're in Chicago, Illinois. So I get comic books from them like basically once a month. The way their store works is online. They have a list for every month, and you just pick the comic books that you want. And whenever they have a total of $85 worth of your books that they're ready to ship, they ship them out to me and it's free shipping. That's another thing that drew my attention to them. Now, of course, older books, if you want to buy that from them, or ratios, they do cost more. So you got to decide, do I want just the regular comic books that are between $3 to $5, not 25 cents like when I started, I wish, or do I want to buy some of the ratios, which are more expensive, or they have back issues, so you just go through the back issue list and see what you want. Like I said, if you want to leave me a comment, if you've never collected comic books, I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. If you want to go online, Instagram is really good. Just type in comic books for sale or comic book groups. You'll see how many comic books are on there. Go to previewsworld.com, and I believe the other one is, like I said, UCS Distributorship. I'll have their links at the bottom afterwards. And that's about it. I just wanted to give a how-to video. How to collect comic books. Do you want to? Oh, yeah, if you noticed, most of my books are in plastic bags. I'll take this one out. And this is just to protect them, basically. It comes with a backboard, so the comic books won't bend, hopefully. And the plastic bag is just to keep them in better condition. Now, there's different types of plastic bags, too. I keep on saying this, but just go online and saying comic book merchandise or miscellaneous, and they'll pull up all kinds of bags to collect your books in. Some of them, as time goes by, they do yellow, and you have to change them on a regular basis, which I do. There's also boxes where you can put your comic books in. I'll have pictures of two of them that I use now. One are regular cardboard, which I quit using cardboards. I only use them for newer ones. But what I use now is from BCW, and I have a picture of them right here. They're plastic boxes. They're a lot more sturdier and more stackable. So, there is a lot to think about if you want to get into comic book collecting. Hopefully, this will give you a little bit of an idea of what to do and where to go if you're into it. And as of today, I'm at 178 subscribers. I had a giveaway at 100 subscribers, which I did about a month or two ago. I'm close to 200. I was going to do another giveaway, which I'm still going to do. But in between that, I'm going to have another giveaway. There's this a couple of people that I follow on Instagram, JT Ripple Pressing and Recasters. One of the Facebook people that I follow, JT and Recasters, on Wednesdays, which is New Comic Book Day. That's when the comic books always come out on Wednesday. I don't know why they pick Wednesday, but it does. But as I said, I get all my comic books from Gmart Comics, most of them. But sometimes I miss some that I didn't get and I want to get them afterwards. JT goes to a local comic book store where he's at, and basically he just starts showing off the books that came out that day. And if you want to get them, you just tell him, hey, I want this one, and this one, and then he ships them to whomever wants the comic books. It's a really good site. I'm going to leave their links below me too, their Instagram links, so if you want to check them out on Wednesdays. So I was just talking to JT on Instagram, and I told him, hey, you're like my number one go-to guy on Instagram. And he was saying, wow, thank you so much. So he decided to donate a comic book for me. So he's like, JT and Recasters are like my first sponsors, I would say. They gave me a comic book to give away. I'm going to show it to you next week, what it is. I'm going to tell you how you can try to win it. It's very easy. You don't have to do. I'm not going to tell you what comic book it is, but I'm going to give you a hint. The character that's on the comic book title is on my desk here. Okay? So you got to figure out which character it is. That's all I'm going to say. Next week, I'm going to have my co-host. I should have my daughter with me. She liked it so much, she's going to be back. So we're going to do the giveaway. We're going to announce the giveaway on probably Monday or Tuesday. It'll go on for about a week or two. I'll give you the rules right now. All you have to do is leave a comment for that giveaway video. And if you can, please subscribe. I always appreciate it. I think I'm just going to... We'll see who wins. And hopefully, it's going to be limited to, I think, the United States, because going overseas is, I think it's more expensive, but I may change my mind by the time I do the video. I might say, hey, whomever wants to can go for it, but we'll see. So that's all I have for you this week. Like I said, next week I'm going to have a bunch of comic books to show you. I'm going to have the giveaway. I got a print also from Sideshow Collectibles I want to show you. So this is Ephraim from Passpoint One Comics. Please be safe and take care.